obviously about just the two miles and the past and all that shit. So, okay, we're good.
Ready? Yep. All right, welcome back. We're Wilder Minds. This is episode 4. This is kind of the series that we've been doing with you guys, the drop behind the scenes. Of course, after every week on Friday, we're dropping these, so hopefully you guys are enjoying them so far. We're getting good results, so we love it. Love talking to you guys and telling you stories from behind the scenes. In this episode, finally, we are in the chips. So it's been a pretty good run so far.
Yeah, we're in the thick. We you never know on these trips ever.
Yeah.
When you go downriver, what's going to happen? And we get to Camp 2, and there's an elevation change, and obviously we chat about where we're going to go next. Mm-hmm. Elevation, we got to get elevation because we are in a low spot. Yeah. Can't see a whole lot. There's one high spot behind camp that you jumped up, and we shot a little sequence story up on that. But the morning cracks, and it's off to Bald Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the spot we've been staring at that we want to get to.
Yeah.
Right? Just a hike to get down there. I don't remember exactly how far was it.
About a mile.
It was right at a mile.
Right at a mile.
As the crow flies.
Yeah.
Come to find out, it's longer than that when you got to do the old wind around the braids and the muskeg and all the nasty shit. But the thing about that, like if you think about it, when you look down there, yes, it's elevation, but it's not drastic.
No.
Like it's not, you know what I mean? It's not a couple 100 feet of elevation. It's amazing what just a little bit of elevation can do.
Yeah.
How it can change the game and what you can see and where you can see and all that stuff. Even looking into the trees from elevation is different. You know, down at kind of eye level, you're looking at a solid wall, but when you get up there, you can actually kind of see down into them. So, Bald Hill was definitely a spot we ID'd as like, man, we got to make it there.
Well, let's go back for just a second. This camp in general, we chose not to move very far, but enough to get us some advantage, right? So, one, we wanted to get into some spruce. We wanted to get into some firewood because where we got dropped off, obviously we were on almost a little island, right?
Yeah.
So it was getting difficult there. But also we didn't want to leave the high area yet. Like that was a big thing for us is we knew that caribou were coming through there. I mean, we had seen in past years hundreds
And killed
caribou right there. So we know like we're still learning what's going on. So we didn't want to go too far. And this provided us that ability to give us the firewood that we need, give us a landing zone if we need it, and also give us some elevation. So there's a reason that we're not far, but we stopped at this camp.
Yeah,
the strip was a big part of that.
It was a
like,
huge
if you think
part
back,
of it.
the strip was a really big part of that because the water levels are so damn high that landing's very limited along the river. And so we knew of basically like, I think it was 2 other spots. One was iffy no matter what, and then it's all the way.
One was 115 miles down.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, when you got kind of a combination of, the old saying, we've said it a bunch, don't leave sheep to find sheep. It applies for moose as well.
Yeah.
Don't leave moose to find moose. Like you said, caribou have historically been all through there. So, I mean, in our minds, it's like, well, if we could do all this up here, then we'll hang here as long as we can.
I think what people might be interested in, and we can talk about this for a second, but the area that we're in when we're up high like that, it's almost like hunting whitetail in a pinch point. Like, we're looking for that, but we're looking for it with mountains. So we're looking at like, how do they go from one range to another or one river system to another system? Like, because they're going to start traveling through there and coming into that valley, and that's where they would enter. Then they drop down and start to go low, or down lower, they'll do the same thing. They'll come up over an easier pass. And so we're in an area where we know, historically they're traveling from one river to another to our valley. And so again, there is intel of why we're here. It's just this year, for whatever reason, they just weren't there. And the caribou, whether they went through early, and you'll find out in later episodes kind of what we found from, where the caribou were. But it's just interesting that all leads to us kind of seeing our first moose. And that was like, okay. Like there was a moment for me anyway, where it was like, hey, we get up there, we get our elevation, and we're like, there's the first one, like
the first bull,
the first bull, like
trip.
Okay, like now we haven't made a wrong decision. There is bull moose in the area, but that validation of like, it doesn't come quick in Alaska. It's not. I mean, it sometimes takes 5 days to get the validation for what you actually, and you got to get in the right spot. And it's not just as easy as everybody just walk over here and there's the moose. It's like there's things that have to go into place to get to that.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's not an abundance of game.
I was just
looking at a report for a unit near ours. The entire unit had 400 moose in it.
Yeah.
And that is, I don't know how many square miles, hundreds of square miles.
Yeah.
So when you find a bull, man, you might not see another one for miles downriver. Yeah. So, it throws a lot of these things, in the equation. Do you stay and go after a bull you see that's, miles off river? Or do you keep going?
Yep.
And that's, I think, always the thing that we're thinking about is, do we keep going or do we stay? Mm-hmm. And you have all these things that played into it. The airstrip was there. The caribou herd had not been through yet.
Right.
We didn't know if they were still going to come through or not. Yeah. So, there was a lot of things in question, but paint the picture visually of exactly what we're looking at. We get to the bald hill. Mm-hmm. What's the terrain? What's what is it around us that we're looking at as far as terrain and stuff?
So I will get there 100% on the density thing. I want to touch on that real fast. That moose density thing, like everybody thinks it's Alaska. There's animals around every corner. And I've been saying this for a long time. You're looking for a real small needle in a gigantic haystack. Mm-hmm. Like that's what it comes down to. Moose densities, like if you're finding one moose per square mile, that density's through the roof. You know what I mean? So they're not just around every single corner. The other thing that's fascinating, and this is what, I'll talk about the surroundings from Bald Hill, is how difficult they can be to see.
Yeah.
They're a massive animal.
Yeah, for real.
But you can stare at a patch of spruce for 3 hours and then all of a sudden catch a paddle and you're like, holy shit, where'd he come from?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the case of what went down when we finally got to Bald Hill. So, we did the hike, we get down there, we get up on that hill and, off to the river side of the hill, which would be, which would actually be the west side. So, the river's running, let's call it north and south, looking to the west. Across the river, there was a real nice kind of just tundra flat, right? It's kind of braids, dried up braids on the riverbed, gravel, all that stuff, tag alders and willows, tons of food for them. And then that kind of bleeds into just a little stretch of higher ground that's got a bunch of spruce mixed throughout.
Yep.
It's one of those areas where, you could just see moose being in that spruce and in that kind of cover. And then making their way out to feed and do all that stuff along the river's edge. Now, on the opposite side, so over on the east side of the hill, was basically spruce going halfway up that hillside, halfway up that mountainside. Mm-hmm. And those are some of the areas, like I said, that can be awesome when you gain that elevation to look into. But case in point, just like what happened, you can stare in there for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, and then all of a sudden you think you've looked at every square inch. Mm-hmm. And bam, all of a sudden there's a moose. Yeah. Like, what the hell? You know what I mean? So it was an awesome spot to have vantage from. And as far as seeing downriver, you could see.
I was just going to say that you can see you can see basically 4 by 4 miles up and down the river, and as far as you can see into those mountains to the top.
Everywhere.
Now, the hard thing about that is just because you can see 4 miles doesn't mean you can kill them at 4 miles, right? So that's a whole different ballgame. But
or judge them,
I was
or
staring.
Get to them,
I was actually looking on that east side. There was kind of the way it worked is like 3 little valleys, 3 dips that were coming in with the spruce, but those valleys went up and then hit steep rock to the point where there's sheep above them, right? So this doesn't go up and over a mountain. So if anything's coming in, it could drop into that valley, it could drop into the second valley, and just kind of stay in that stuff. I had been staring at that for almost 2 hours.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, to your point, paddle. I'm like, what? Yep. I've been looking at that for 2 hours. Well, it just happened to get in the right position through the spruce, caught the paddle. We actually never really could get an awesome look at that moose enough to say, okay, he's worth 100% going after. But at the end of the day, what you don't see kind of in this episode, because we get into like a bunch of different moose, is we make the decision, but as we're making the decision is when I kind of look back towards camp and then caught a paddle that was definitely white, right? It's like, what is that? Then we look and then we're like, okay, now it's decision time, because now there's a moose back there. Mm-hmm. There's one right here. We still don't know 100% if this is like when we say of age, we're talking like, is it a mature bull that has the right, the right brow tines, the right width, the right, everything we're looking for. We can tell there's a giant on the other sides. And then it just becomes like, now you're just torn. And now you start to really think about logistics of distance, packing, hiking, hunting. How are we going to get to them? All of that is happening, and it's happening in real time, really fast on the mountain. It's not like we sat there for another 3 hours and discussed it. I mean, this all happens in 10 minutes of you got to make a call. And once you do, there's no coming back to the other one because that one's probably at that point moved off another valley, is going the other direction. And if anything, it's even further. So I think we made the right call in this episode. I think it was like, we know that we're going to go back to camp. And once we got over there to that opening, which we hustled on, we got there in less than, was it 30 minutes or something?
It was like 45 minutes.
Right there, 40 minutes. But that'll tell you, I mean, 40 minutes. Look, we can do a mile a lot sooner than that if you're on pavement. It's 30, 40 minutes because of the muskeg and the stuff you're going through. So it was like, okay, had that been an older bull, everything would have paid off exactly where it was at. But we didn't realize that there was satellite bulls in there as well. So it was there was a lot going on at that moment. Well, it's hard to tell in a 2-minute story.
Yeah, but seeing the first bull, that's like opening page 1 of a book.
Yep.
And steadily for the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, even the rest of that day, we just kept turning pages, because the other thing we had working against us is that first bull had a cow.
Yeah.
And
wasn't going to move.
I mean, everybody that whitetail hunts knows, like, you try and pull a mature buck off a doe, like, it's pretty hard to do. You're not pulling a bull off of a cow. Like, it's not going to happen. So she was dictating his movement, which makes it twice as hard, because now raking, at least at the distance we are, raking's not really going to do anything.
Right.
Cow calling's not really going to do anything. So you got to get yourself into the right position. You almost have to hunt her instead of hunt him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's that aspect, and she was on the move.
Yeah.
She wasn't.
She was moving all around.
She was all
zigzagging
over in there. So
and going south.
Yeah.
Right. So not like an
Away
east and
from
west
us.
thing where it's like, oh, okay, maybe she'll pop
away
out
from
here.
camp.
No. She was headed south, and they were going
further
down
away from camp, further away from the river. Like
Every 5 minutes they're walking a couple hundred yards.
Yeah.
And that's another couple hundred. You got to pack them out.
At Keefer Brothers, our mission is to pass on what the wildest taught us. Every single step into the wild tells a story, and we've spent years capturing those moments in the rawest way possible. So if you're not afraid to step outside of your comfort zone and you want to go further and live the kind of life that most people only talk about, be sure to visit KeeferBrothers.com. Whether you're there for the stories, the skills, or the connection, everything lives at KeeferBrothers.com and the all-new companion app.
Every shot counts. And when it's time to make it count, you want the best. Winchester Ammunition has built its legacy on a commitment to innovation by continuously pushing what's possible. In the heartland of America, the American legend crafts ammunition that's purpose-built, reliable, accurate, and ready to perform no matter how harsh the conditions. Whether you're hunting or shooting for sport, Winchester will be there.
All right, let's talk about beer for a second. You ever notice there's a big difference between Busch Light drinkers and other beer drinkers? I like to say we live on the wild side. You know, a guy with a Busch Light in his hand, he's a man of the people. He's out there in the wild every day. He's in the trenches smashing bushies with a smile on his face. You know why? Because he doesn't care. He's not looking for a soulmate. He just needs something to wash that damn jerky down. And he's got himself a 12-pack of Freedom in a can. And when that can gets cracked, it's like opening a door to a whole different world. It's just a vibe. And if you haven't felt it, you should. So go grab yourself a case of bushies, give them a rip, and take a walk on the wild side. Wherever your adventure takes you, count on Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's to make it memorable. From the timberline to the campsites to the lake and the range, get your family outfitted with the right gear. With premium brands like Worldwide Sportsman, Ascend, Instinct, Redhead, and Natural Reflections, they've got the apparel and the gear to make it the best adventure ever. Stop by today for a one-of-a-kind shopping experience in-store or online at BassPro.com and Cabela's.com. See for yourself at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's stores. Your adventure starts here. If I remember right, on that first bull, we had a mile from us to camp and then a mile from where we sat to her.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a 2 mile
in through nasty, wet bog, which is to consider. But something I also want to talk about is, and this is what I realized going through all this footage. I'm watching this live. There's 3 camera angles going live. There's the camera angle of the Swarovski optics that I have with the A1, getting the footage at basically 1.5 miles. So when you're watching that at home, it's easy to think, why didn't they just go after
what
that
the
bull?
hell?
It's so close.
1.5 miles.
But we're at like 50x, 60x zoom on that.
You zoom out and you go, oh, that's why.
We're at 1 mile to 1.5 miles from that bull, but I also am watching this in real time, and I'm cutting this together. And you guys aren't sure does it have 3 on one side, 4? I can plainly see in the footage that's synced up. It's got 5 brow tines on the one side, plain as day.
Yeah.
But we don't have that luxury to go back. You know, it's a smaller screen. We're not filming and looking at that footage and analyzing it. You know, you guys have your spotting scopes and you're seeing things at different angles, and so everything's happening in real time. But in the end, that bull being that far away and having to take 1.5 miles, 2 miles back to camp, and having bulls behind camp, well, that kind of weighed out. And that one behind camp had a giant paddle.
There was, yes. I mean, I did get a beat on that first bull, and we knew he was legal before we pulled the trigger to go back to camp. But he was, legal doesn't mean go shoot him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Legal means, he is legal. If
we are in Alaska
to take him.
for Yukon moose. I mean, he wasn't a, we've shot 60+ inch moose. He wasn't that yet, right? And by the way, first moose, right? So we're thinking, okay.
And this is day 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is day 4.
Yeah.
And then when the bulls popped up behind camp, I think I jumped on Onyx, or maybe you jumped on Onyx and do the quick, it seems like they'd be right about here. And it was like boom, boom, and it was like 800 yards.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we're 2 miles where we sit here. Those moose are about 800 yards from camp. That's half a mile, right?
In higher ground.
That's doable. It's on high and dry. So let's make a rip over there. And the other thing too is we knew there was more than one bull over there. Like, just the amount of shit that was going on in the spruce, it's like, bam, there goes what was that one over there? So I think that was it all kind of came together to that decision of like, man, we should really think about scooting that way.
And in the footage too, going through it, and this is all stuff that you pick up later. Like, we saw a bull push a smaller satellite bull through, but looking at the footage later, this was a freaking giant bull.
Oh, yeah.
It was a big bull, huge paddles. And at the time, I don't think we knew how big. We knew it was mature enough to go after. But man, looking at the footage later, I'm like, dang, I wish we could have got on him earlier.
So this is an interesting thing too. I would love to give a perspective to the viewers on is our decision to move where we came from, drop to where we were. Okay, when we went after that bull was actually between where we got dropped and the other side, right? So in reality, from the other camp, we probably would have seen that bull sooner and on. So again, it's like that decision to say we got to go, but here we are one day later, and you just don't know. If we would have stayed there, we probably would have seen that bull sooner because we know what the terrain looks like on the other side of that, which is it was a big open valley where pouches and all that open valley. They had to cross that at some point to get into where they were. So we might have seen that bull from camp, but then our advantage would have been we'd have never been able to get to him, right? Because of the way the river bends and where it goes and how you have to cross and everything else. So what we did is we put ourselves on the other side of the river down and came back up at that bull versus having to try to go all the way around. So, there's so many dynamics that from a viewer standpoint come into play. And in Alaska, you make the decision and you have to be okay.
You gotta live with it.
You have to be okay with the decision you made, right? You can't sit there and say, well, if we'd have just stayed there another day. It's just not how it works out because you'll beat yourself up every time because something is going to happen when you're like, you just can't do it. You've got to make your decision and stay with it.
Yeah, and we were only 3 air miles from Camp 1 to Camp 2. It only took us 45 minutes to an hour to get down to this spot. But that's the thing about moose hunting. You can't pack that thing easily, if you're just going after caribou, you might go on a 2 mile walk.
Sure.
We did.
Yeah,
We
no
have
Maniac.
many times.
Maniac
problems
was
there.
further than 2 miles.
Yeah.
But for bull moose, you're going to move the entire camp to get you in a better position to kill a bull and bring it back to camp safely and within the time restraints.
Or you're going to think through it and say, if we shoot that bull there, which we can go do, instead of bringing the bull back, we're going to move the camp. Like there's things where you look at, I mean, we've talked about that before. It's like, if we shoot this bull here, we're going to go get camp because it's easier to move camp down to here instead of trying to get this bull all the way back to where that is.
Yeah, you go to the animal, get him cut up, get all that done, and then go to camp.
Break it down. You take it, get it safe, get it down to the river, and then you go get camp and you bring it down to you. Like that is a different tactic, but we've discussed it in the past on like that's easier than trying to do this, and we've gone through that process.
And in all honesty, from Old Bald Hill, that first bull, we could have done that. We could have closed the distance by about a mile. We could have got that down to 1 mile. The biggest issue at that point is we passed up enough gravel. We didn't know if a plane could land. So, and that's, I mean, those are just the things that we're faced with when you're out there that like you never really have to think about on any other hunt.
No.
You know, we could have gotten a mile closer with camp, but now we're a mile below where the plane can get. So how the hell
either
are we
way,
gonna
you're
do
getting
that?
them back up there.
Yeah,
it's just
like,
a matter of how, right? And it's
just
days on end.
It's all give and take. It's all, I mean, you have to think 4, 5, 6 steps ahead every single day, every single moment.
Yeah,
really.
I think if you remember season 1, the bull you killed that floated downriver, that was a conundrum because we were ready to float to extraction, but we were roughly 3/4 of a mile to a mile upriver is where camp was. He floated a mile down. So we had to go down, pull him out of the water, cape and quarter him, but we also had to think about, well, shit, we got to bring the entire camp down here. We have to float the raft down to get down here to cross the river because it was steep or deep. So we had to go 1 raft down, cut him up, cape and quarter him, come back, put every single thing for our camp in 1 raft, including your bull, your first bull, the caribou, which wasn't much left. We ate them at that point.
All gear,
but
like
everything had to go down there, and that's just the things you got to think about.
Yeah,
which was what
the fucking suicide mission.
Casey,
You guys pushed me off to the river.
We
It
pushed
was you.
Casey off, and we're like, see you down there in a mile. We crossed the river. And then we pushed across the river, and I remember the first time we pushed that across, so that we could be on the other side, because we had to run. There's no room on the raft for us, so we had to hike it.
You got humped it.
And I'm like, all right, Casey. And I remember you sitting on top of trying to center.
You look
steer.
like Santa Claus.
It
on a
was
Christmas
like
sleigh.
it was like on a sleigh. And then you
Red
started
bearded
going.
Santa.
When we first pushed that raft was so heavy that I remember going, I don't know. He's gonna bounce around. Like there's no way to control this thing. This is.
It was well
dangerous.
over capacity.
And I was sprinting down the edge of the river, like you're floating, going, and I am just hauling ass down the side of the river,
Trying to
running.
get footage
Aim for
wherever
the
I
bushes.
can.
And aim for the bushes.
Aim for the bushes.
And I mean, I'm running next to you, and then I catch you, like you come through the willows. I see a little bit, then you disappear. I run to the next spot, and I'd be like, he's got to come around the bend. Then boom, you pop around the bend, and you're just pinballing your way down, trying to steer that thing.
Yeah.
And then we got to the moose, and basically you threw the rope. And we got that. I remember standing there trying to pull that raft in because you were gone. And if had you passed, it was on because it's a straight shot. Like it was like, we got to get him. And you threw the rope, and we were all pulling, and we got you up on
2
there.
tons of gear on there. I'm not kidding you. 2 tons.
When I got out into the center of the river and I tried to spin the boat just to get at least the bow facing downriver, I wrenched on the stick, and I was just like,
the sticks looked like they were going to break.
They were just bending. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to snap these things. Like I can't, there's nothing I can do. I'm just along for the ride.
Just going to ride.
Literally aim for the bushes and let's see what happens. So,
I love it. It's funny, man.
There's a picture of me. It's actually one of my favorite pictures. I'm leaning against the raft and I got like a shit-eating grin on and you could just see All the shit stacked up behind us.
I took that picture, and the only thing I could think of is Christopher McCandless before he went into the wild. Like, this is the last picture of Casey.
That's the one they put next to the casket, and they were like, surround with flowers.
Seconds before
we're sending
drowned.
Casey to his death, and then we're running down for a next mile in the wild bush, and like with carcasses everywhere. It was like, all right, like this couldn't be any more dangerous than what we're doing, but we're going to go do it.
But
like,
think about that. That is a perfect example of, man, we had camp, we had the setup, we had everything. You had already killed a bull. Like, we're in Prayer Point. This is fantastic. Bull comes in, killable, no problem. I mean, I think I shot that bull 60 yards from the tent.
Yeah.
Like, that's how, I mean, they literally were coming through camp.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was like, this
had
is
he
awesome.
died right there. Oh,
this is awesome.
Perfect.
Whack, here we go. Uh-oh, now what's he doing? He ran to the river. And then he falls over, and then boom, you see the antler, and the rest is history. But it just shows you, like, we made all the right decisions. That moose changed one thing, and it changed the entire outcome of the trip.
That whole thing, I'm glad we're talking about this, because that moose died in 15 steps.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But when he fell over dead, I'll never forget standing there and all of us looking at that bull going down and going,
it was a celebration, and then it was like,
then it was like,
oh,
hold on.
well,
And then
shit,
I remember
what?
literally, I think I looked at Casey and I go, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? Like, this is
Literally.
a wrench that I never even contemplated. Nope. Like, what do we do?
And you think of everything. And then something like that happens. You're like, shit, didn't think of that.
Didn't think
it looked like a shark fin going downriver.
Remember the first bump?
It was just going downriver like a shark fin. The
I
one
think
side
what we
of
were
its
worried
paddle.
about the most is that first big turn was a huge sweeper and we're like, if he gets stuck in a sweeper, you're not getting a 2,000-pound moose out from underneath without a winch, without a come along. Like, there's just no way we're getting him out of there, because there's no way to get to him.
I remember saying, if he's under there, I'm punch my tag, and that's that.
Yeah.
You know
what do we do?
Like,
because there's no way to get him out of there. There wouldn't have been a way to get him out. Now, in hindsight, it was awesome because he beached. Like the way he beached, and we got him up with rope on a gravel bar, which was like the cleanest cape thing we've ever had. The meat was cold.
Digits were cold.
Oh, my hands were frozen. But we caped him in the water, but it was the cleanest one we ever had. But it was like, all right, we're going to get this thing out of here.
Well, we ran back to camp after, killing our second bull in 3 days. We're excited, but then we run back to camp. We know we got to go downriver. So we all get into our wader gear. Yep. We all, 4 of us, get on that one raft.
Yep.
And we thought through, okay, we're going to leave this raft down here. We're going to have to.
Yep.
Or bring it up a mile.
A really important note. When that bull went around the corner, he was still floating.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we had no fucking clue.
Yeah.
Where he went.
No, we didn't.
It wasn't
know.
like, oh, he's down there, let's go
That's
get
what I'm
him.
getting
We were
at
like,
is
oh, shit.
We were
didn't
prepared
know.
to leave the raft because we had no idea of distance.
Yeah.
So it's like, we might have a 5-mile hike back. We don't know where that moose is going to hang up, but we got to go after that moose, and then we are going to have to come back.
Yeah.
And it was a decision that we made on the spot.
It was wild, man. I remember pushing out and getting in. We're rolling footage and stuff, running cameras, and just super apprehensive, like we might not find this bull.
Yeah.
And we went around like the second bend, and we looked, and I remember
the paddle
beached up on that gravel bar, and it was just like big relief. It was like you got excited twice. You got excited when you killed him the first time, and then when you
oh my God, we're going to recover
find him the second time. Yeah. It was a sweet bull too.
Yep. Yeah. But that's that is the reason that hunt right there is the reason that in my head I'm always trying to play out these scenarios is because you literally have no idea. Yeah. I mean, it's the Wild West. Whatever happens is going to happen, and you think you plan for all of it until something like that.
Yeah, and you make one decision, and that
changed the rest of our trip. We had to go get camp. We had to move. We had to break shit down. We had to fill the raft. Like, there's so many things that came from just that one little. Instead of he died 15 steps. Instead of 15 steps this way, he went 15 steps that way.
Yep.
Is what it is.
Yeah. And I think our initial reaction is we started to run like let's get him. And we're like, we're not going to stop a 2,000-pound bull in the rapids. No. Like, you're going to end up going in. And we didn't have the rope on us because we were on a hunt. So we had to go back and get all that stuff. And I mean, I remember gearing up for that, going like, well, I guess this is all new, so let's figure it out as we go.
We thought it was normal. I mean, honestly, we didn't think it was normal, but now doing this for 15 years, thinking back to the craziness of that bull actually floating down in the rapids and disappearing, that'll never happen again.
Oh, knock on that table. Yeah, you knock. If it's going to happen, it happens to this guy.
Hey, at least that means we killed a bull and he's floating. So
we were so new on that hunt. I remember thinking, because we heard the bull grunt, and it was like, all right, we got to get ourselves into a position. So, and we're like, oh shit, here we go. I was stalking that moose like I was stalking a whitetail.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to be so quiet on the gravel and like not roll any rocks. In reality, moose are like the loudest damn animals in the world. When they walk on a gravel bar, it's just crashing and rolling and breaking shit and everything else. But I was like silent stalking, That's how new I was. Now it's make noise, be a, if you're going to be a moose, be a moose.
Yeah. So, bang everything on the way through, make noise until you get a visual on them. And usually then they still stare at you like, what are you? Yeah. So you still have that moment where we thought he was going to go, and take off.
I know. That's what I mean. I was like, don't let them know we're here.
I was like,
now it's like, I'm over here.
Like a doe blowing a field, just gone. And we're like, no, that's not what he did at all. He stood there and looked at us like, what are you?
Yeah.
So
that's how new we were, though.
For some of us, the hunt never stops. Grizzly understands that more than most. Rugged, reliable, and built to never back down. Whether you're on the trail, by the water, or deep in the dark timber, Grizzly is by your side. Tough enough to take on the wild and ready for whatever you can throw. Grizzly is committed to products that never let you down. Always on the hunt with Grizzly.
Out here in the wild, precision isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. Leupold Optics is built on the foundation of American craftsmanship, where every features function first. For over a century now, they've combined dedication and technology with a relentless put-it-to-the-test attitude, creating optics that stand up when everything else stands down. When it matters most, you need the best. That's what you get with Leupold Optics. While other companies out there warranty failure, Leupold guarantees performance for life. You've got things that matter. Memories, heirlooms, documents, firearms. And we all know that life is unpredictable. At Winchester Safes, they make sure life's unpredictable moments don't take those things from you. They use state-of-the-art methods that refuse to sacrifice quality. They put everything they have into their products, offering proven protection and peace of mind. There's only one safe company worthy of the title the American legend, and that's Winchester Safes. Follow at Winchester Safes or learn more on winchestersafes.com. When you're miles from help, second chances don't exist. That's why we shoot Rage broadheads. Massive cutting diameter, field point accuracy, and devastating results when it matters most. Hunt with Rage.
Yeah.
But those are the things, man. Like you rely on all those past experiences and, all of that shit goes through your mind. Yeah. To be honest, we were on Bald Hill. One of the things I was thinking of, and I don't know if you guys remember this year, but we ran into that guy in the hangar that was sitting there, and that guy, I've never seen anybody look that defeated and miserable in my entire life. But he had a giant bull, over 70, huge bull, sitting in front of him. But this guy looked dead. And I remember saying to him, like, what an unbelievable bull, rough hunt, tired or what? And the guy's like, I shot him 2 miles off the river. And he told me, now whether this is true or not, I don't know. He told me it took him 7 days.
Yeah.
7 days.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not smart.
Well, you're basically bringing back 6 human beings, 2 miles on your back.
One way.
One way.
Yeah.
2 miles. So hind quarter, 200. Other hind quarter, 200. Front quarter, 150. Other front quarter, 150. Cape and antlers, 150. All the rest of the meat, 100. That's 6 full-size human beings you're taking from wherever the hell you are to the river. you very well may never make it back.
And that's barring a grizzly doesn't get on the kill or, something along those lines.
So that's another thing.
Let's
talk about that for a second. So,
Bald Hill.
Yeah. There's grizzlies everywhere.
9 of them.
There's 9 grizzlies
from one
around.
spot.
So that's another thing that we were considering on this is we've got the sow cub with her college students that were down there basically just like everywhere.
Yeah.
And beautiful bears, by the way.
Yep.
They're walking everywhere. We got 4 up on the side that I was glassing on, up on the top of the mountain. So this is another factor. Forget the distance for a second. 2 miles. If we're going to do it and you're going to take the 7 days, okay. Like you made the decision.
In all reality, we have a crew.
Yes. So you're going to make a decision,
right?
That's fine. And it's not necessarily even at that point the mileage. It's the time away from the moose. Okay. So when you do that pack out, and the whole crew's like, okay, here we go. Everybody gets ready to rock and roll. Boom, we go first load. You're coming back empty 2 miles. So you're just burning calories. It sucks so it's a 4 mile round trip. Great. If that takes 3 to 4 hours to do that first run, that is 3 to 4 hours of those 9 grizzlies that we could count in sight, having the ability to move in on that moose. Right? So now you've made a decision to put you and that animal in a completely different scenario than you. And so again, a factor that we talked about up there is the time away from the carcass is going to allow time for the 9 grizzlies we can see that are right here. I mean, and up there, man, they hear a gunshot. These grizzly are not stupid.
And they were all feeding. They were tearing up. They were getting ready.
And they all had cubs. So they're going to find something. They're going to start that. And when they claim it, it's over, right? So you got defensive life opportunity there. You do not want to get into.
Then you lose your meat.
You lose the meat. You don't give the justice to the moose. So, I know a lot of guys might say, yeah, well, maybe they do, maybe they. Listen, we consider absolutely everything before we make that call, period. And sometimes you make the call and you get there, like when you had the wolf scenario in the same area last year, you got him in the sights and you're ready to pull the trigger. He's dead. I'm on the range. You're on the sticks. We're ready to roll. He's 250 yards away. Boom. We're going to smoke this wolf. But literally 80 yards to his left is a grizzly. When that gun goes off, that grizzly knows, by the way, he's already on a caribou.
Yep.
He's going to go, oh, what's up here? Now we got to walk over there to get a wolf. And you're literally walking between you and the grizzly bear to get the wolf. Like at the end of the day, watch the wolf. The wolf goes through. It's the hardest decision, but at the end of the day, it's not the right call, period. So it's not, because it's not about killing. It's about this adventure that we're on. And by the way, you'll never forget that the rest of your life, but I know you want a wolf, but that just wasn't the right wolf.
I got one. He's just still running around.
Exactly. That just wasn't the right one. You know what I mean? Like, and we have to have that type of mentality in there. It's like, it's not about like, there's the biggest whitetail, shoot. It's not that. It's like, whoa. Nope. Every single thing has to be discussed before we do this.
The old Ben Franklin.
Yeah.
What's the positives? What's the negatives of this one? Positive, moose tag punched in a bunch of meat.
Yep.
Negatives. We're like, okay, not happening.
Yeah. So all that comes into play. But I think at the end, I don't look back on the decision we made to leave the one that was there and go after the ones that we went after behind camp. And like I said, that young bull walked right through where we were at. It was just like, we got there and it was like, there's a bull. And we're like, well, okay,
here we go.
We're in it. And then that cow just happened to go a different direction. Right. And then you have this ability to say, now we're going to play the cat and mouse game. So that cow's going that way, which means if you're chasing him to go that way, how are you going to break that bull off of that cow? And that's where it's like, it's not worth going after that another mile just to see if we can get closer. Because if we get there and he's another mile from there with that, he's not breaking from that cow.
We'd considered it though, because we did say, okay, we go 3/4 of a mile. There are some spruce right there. We get behind those spruce. That'll put us like 300, 400 yards from the bull. We can start raking the piss out of that spruce tree and maybe get a reaction from him. Maybe, we'll get in that buffer. We'll get in that buffer zone, we thought. Yeah. But then you just weigh it all out. And honestly, seeing these bulls behind camp, it was like, okay, thank you. You made the decision easier for us.
Well, then you know that they don't, because they're not like, they don't usually leave fast, right? So then it was like, okay, even though if it's not going to happen right now, that bull walked by, they're in this section of timber. tomorrow morning we're going to be right here ready to rock, and chances are, that they're going to be around, and they were. It just wasn't in a position for us to say that's a smart move to make, to go do that and get that particular bull.
So to wrap up, kind of this story, we get in within 300-400 yards from where we saw those bulls, and the satellite bull comes out at 200 yards, 150 yards. Great footage, cool bull, beautiful. And I remember
Big
you just
body.
saying, just to see them in that, in that environment and wild like that. It's just, like you said, primitive. It's just so primitive.
What I remember about that bull is it took us 40 minutes to come from where we came from, and we watched that bull in about 6 minutes cross that.
Oh, yeah.
Like he went across
Scoot
that.
through
He
there?
went through
Oh.
and then went back up into the timber where we were. In about literally 6 minutes, he was already through that. Because
They move.
he's just kind of doing his thing. They're long legs. That muskeg, where it's just not built for. We're not built for it. But just to watch him go across there, and I was like, I remember leaning over, going like, it took him 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Like
Coasted.
He was just on the move and got in there. And by the way, he got in there. Never saw him again.
Yep.
He didn't go over the mountain. He
Nope.
didn't do anything. So that goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is they disappear when they get in that thick stuff. And we never saw him again. I just saw him. Never saw him
Literally
again.
watched him walk in right there.
And
I have no clue where he
And
went.
we glassed that whole side right there, and he went in there, and I never saw him cross into that second valley. I never saw another paddle. It was like he gone, just like
gone.
that. Yeah.
That bull was the first bull we had close, real close, 200 yards.
Yep.
And it just reminded me, I remember looking at him going, oh, these things are so big.
Yeah.
So big.
Like, forget the antlers, just
Yeah.
body-wise.
Body-wise.
Like, you look at them and you're like, oh, they're so big. Which means when they move across the tundra, they make it look so easy. But then we go down there and it's like, this shit's up to my knees in water, and that's the other limiting factor. Like, we as humans have so many limiting factors that they just don't have. So if you're trying to bring a bull to you, he'll walk right through that nasty muskeg because he can handle it. But if we're trying to go to him, we got to go out and around it because it literally is up to my knees. We just can't get through it. So seeing that bull that close, like I said, just huge animal, graceful, off they go. Like, it's just, whether you pull the trigger on them or not, having a moose at 200 yards is badass.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's unreal, man.
Yeah. No, and I liked our spot. I loved where we were. We had a good little nook that we were in, and we could see a long ways, and we'd catch a paddle, we'd get into the calling, and it was definitely a spot that if it would have happened, it would have been amazing. And then we kind of painted that picture there for a couple days.
And we settle in there and we get into some more bulls, the next couple days. So I think that was a really big day. And I think, from a story perspective, this is what I love about the way we tell stories. That whole day lasted from the time we saw that bull to the time that day ended was about 7 hours, 7 or 8 hours. That was an episode.
Condensed into 22 minutes.
That was one episode. So one half day. And that's why I love telling stories like we do. We don't skip through anything. Like, it's the minute details of every part of that hunt. And that was episode 4 of the season this year. Yeah. And I love that.
Seeing the moose gives you a bunch of answers. I think we're all like, okay, we got bulls here. This is awesome. We got some answers. But it also raises a hell of a lot of questions. And I think as we get into it and we start seeing more animals and more moose, just more questions that we're faced with that come up, like, what the hell is going on?
What's going on here?
It really forces the limiting factors to the top of the conversation. Yeah, I think, and as we get into the next episode, which will be fun to talk about, there's definitely a lot going on in our minds on the limiting factors. We might be in it, but are we really in it?
Yep.
We gotta sit down and have a real heart-to-heart conversation that to me really kicks off everything. I think this episode, 4 episodes in, is the culmination of the beginnings, right? I mean, we're not very many hours in, and we are telling the story hour by hour, not day by day or hunt by hunt, hour by hour. And so from here on out, it starts to get like we're in it now.
Yeah.
And we got some serious choices to make as we go forward. And it's fun. It's going to be interesting. So I'm excited to keep
Put it
going.
this way, I remember looking up and going, you've got to be kidding me. what the hell?
Yeah.
And I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, why? You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's
No doubt. No doubt.
crazy.
Well, I love that you guys are listening to this. We're going to do this again, like we said, for the next, what do we got? 6 weeks left of this. The drop stuff every Friday. YouTube app, we're dropping it. It goes out on Spotify right when the show goes out. So appreciate you guys listening. If you guys have any questions, put it in the comments of the stuff that if you're listening to it, put it in the comments, like it. We'll start answering questions on this. We'll probably put it on Instagram next week maybe to get some questions so that we can address those as we film. But trying to keep you guys in the loop on all the behind-the-scenes stories that we're doing, and it's exciting so far. Drops has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for all the comments on our socials, and huge response this year to the season. And we're in actually week 4. This episode will run this week. It will have just ran. But up to this point, comments have been great, and appreciate everybody watching.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everything?
Keep watching. It's about to get exciting.
Yeah. We're ready to rock. All right, guys, thanks for joining us this week. BTS dropped part 4.
Mama say it's some new day song.
Seeing your arrow vanish in the dark is pure adrenaline. Nocturnal makes it clear. Bright, tough, and dead simple to use. Low light or last light. Track your shot all the way through. Shoot Nocturnal.
Some call it out on the trail. I like to call it the road less traveled. The kind of place where the going gets tough. That's where Tracker Off-Road comes in. Made for those who won't back down. Tracker Off-Road delivers the hardest working machines with the greatest capability at the strongest value in the industry. Built by those who know what it takes and designed for those who don't turn back. Tracker is dedicated to delivering machines that let you get the most out of your day and your dollar. Ready to take on your next adventure? Go with Tracker Off-Road.
Accuracy isn't optional. It's survival. Carbon Express arrows are built for serious hunters chasing clean kills and confidence in every shot. Across the Midwest or all through Alaska, it does not matter. Hunt hard and shoot straight. Carbon Express.